Hello folks, you guys have been asking and I've been putting it off for far too long, my top 10 favorite things of 2015. So let's get into it with my top 10 favorite movies of 2015. Now, here's a disclaimer. I love talking about movies, it's part of what I do, but I don't do it full time. So I haven't seen every single movie this year, and I have specific tastes with the movies I like. So this list is very much me, and of course I have to provide the disclaimer. These are my favorite movies of the year. They're not going to be yours. We're going to disagree. And that's good. That's the beauty of this stuff. So, in the comments, don't hate me. Let me know what you think. This is a top 10 list. It is ordered, and I do have some runner-ups that I will talk about in the end. But let's get started off with number 10, The Gift. The Gift is a really fun and just a really great, well put together, simple movie written and directed by Joel Edgerton, which is crazy. And it actually took Jason Bateman and made him kind of a serious, dramatical actor. Jason Bateman, who is usually just hilarious and sarcastic. They were all fantastic in this movie, and it's just a very simple drama that is so tense. I love everything about it. It's like a mental game of chess the entire time, and it is so much fun, and there's like such a big like whoa at the end that like paid off for everything, and it was great. It moved at a very good pace. It was like a mile a minute. It was kind of scary, kind of made you feel uncomfortable the whole time, and I really enjoyed that. The best part about it too is that I don't want to watch it again. Like I don't want to see it anytime soon, like pop it in and just kick back. But it was just such a good experience that was it. It lasts with me this year. And at number 9, I have Creed. Creed is a movie that I was very excited about. I love the idea. And it could have went either way. It could have been pretty bad. It could have just dragged the franchise through the mud, the Rocky franchise. But thankfully, they pulled it off, and it's really great. Michael B. Jordan is very good. For a while, I didn't really get like the hype with him. Fruitvale Station was really good, but I wasn't totally sold. Now I get it. He's great. I hope he just becomes a big movie star. And let's talk about Stallone. Sylvester Stallone in this movie probably worked the hardest he has in many, many years. He did such a great job actually making me care about him. He acted his ass off. He did so well in this movie. He got the emotions going for me. I really, really enjoyed seeing him doing his thing because it reminded me, I forgot. Sylvester Stallone is a talented individual. He's a great actor. He's a great writer. And that all came back for this movie, and that's honestly why I liked Creed first and foremost. That being said, it does do a very good job of kind of giving this new generation, this new Rocky character, and I really hope there's a sequel, and I want to see him fight more people. He was like an underdog, but not really. The way they handled it was very good because he came from privilege, but he had issues, and it was just, the way they handled it could have went south, but they did it perfectly. And Coogler, I think Ryan Coogler is the director. He's really, really great. That being said, it did do one thing towards the end, like where it took Rocky the character and where it ended with his character. I think they could have done something else. But that's just my opinion. If you guys want to hear exactly what I mean by that, maybe message me or tweet me or something. I don't want to spoil anything. And at number 8 on my list, I have Inside Out. Pixar is very much back with this movie. This is really good. Inside Out was such a good time. I actually I was last on the bandwagon to see this, but it was just very good, very effective, and really nailed what it was setting out to do. The characters like anger and joy and sadness are just really great, lovable characters. I like them so much, and this little adventure they were on was really cool. But then the stuff with Riley, the person in real life, that stuff really got me like emotional, and they did all of that really well. The parents and the move, it was stuff I could relate to, and I really enjoyed that. There's not too much I can really say about this, and it was just good. I really liked it. It was Pixar firing on all creative cylinders, and I really appreciated that. At number 7 on my list, I have Avengers Age of Ultron, and I gotta say on my list, I had Ant-Man first, and I crossed it out, and then I crossed it out and put Age of Ultron, and I crossed Age of Ultron out, and I put Ant-Man again. I have been fighting in my mind to make this list. I wanted to include one Marvel movie, and I enjoyed them both a lot, but I didn't enjoy them like lose my fucking mind. That being said, I think I liked Age of Ultron more, just because after watching it, I loved it. Then I kind of forgot about it. Then after rewatching it again, I realized very much the criticisms, and it's not perfect. It is not as good as the original Avengers, but I really appreciated where they took some characters and what they did with characters and how the movie focused on them. There's a lot of shit in the movie I don't really care for. The fact that there's just a big meteor, the city is rising and it's going to blow up, whatever. Ultron, I thought his CGI was awful. I thought he was underutilized. He wasn't really imposing in any way. Didn't like that. but where they took Captain America, where they took the Hulk, where they took Black Widow, where they took every character, maybe not Thor as much as I'd like, but where they, explored them and really got a little deeper into them, I really liked. And the way they subtly planted the seeds for Marvel Civil War was fucking really exciting. And you guys know, I'm a Captain America fanboy, but they did some really great Captain America moments in this movie. They showed that he was a leader. The Black Widow mind stuff where he, was like a man without a war to fight. Who is he? I love that shit so much. And growing up, I was never the biggest Iron Man fan as a kid, but seeing Iron Man and War Machine fighting together, I was always a War Machine fanboy. Seeing that go down, just in the movie, characters popping in, just like in the comics, a character would just show up and do something. I love that so much, and I really appreciated Age of Ultron for that. And at number 6 on my list, I have Straight Outta Compton. Straight Outta Compton is a great movie, but what I really loved about it was the experience in the theater. The crowd I saw the movie with was just so freaking energetic, and people were freaking out, and it was almost like a concert. Anytime a new song came on, anytime in a movie they ripped into Straight Outta Compton, the audience and everyone else in the theater, as well as myself, went nuts, and they were like, yeah, and everybody's singing along, and it was just so good. I love that, and I'll never forget that movie theater experience. Besides that, though, the movie is great. It's very much like, a biopic or whatever. I don't know how to say it still after all these years. But what it does is I love how well it captured that time period. You feel that tension. You feel that time period where I grew up, but where you feel that whole side where the tension of around the Rodney King riots and just the anger and of the youth, and it's just so cool. It's all very well done, and it's a very good almost companion to the music, and they nailed it. It's just a really enjoyable movie, and it's what I grew up listening to, the time period I grew up living in. It's just fantastic. It was so good. I know I'm running out of words. I'm not a movie scholar. I don't have a lot of good words to use to describe movies, but it's really good. At number 5, I have The Revenant. I waited a very long time to see this movie because it didn't go wide until January, but I wanted to see it because it seemed like the movie that would be right up my alley. That being said, Alejandro Inarritu is a very divisive filmmaker. I really loved Birdman last year. I really, really liked it. But it was pretentious. It was very pretentious. The Revenant is not. It's none of that. And in the media and everything, people still talk about it like it is, but The Revenant is just fucking cool. It's just awesome. That's it. I couldn't describe the Birdman or any other movie like that as oh, it's fucking dope, man. He did all this cool shit. But The Revenant I can, and that's my type of movie where it's just a fucking guy doing cool shit and there's violence and cool, great stuff happening. Loved it. Loved it so much. What I also love, though, the other side of me where I can kind of at least vaguely appreciate filmmaking. It's a gorgeous movie. 5 minutes into this movie, I was like, oh, this is one of the most beautiful movies I've seen in a while. Wow. And it is. Every scene, every landscape shot, every scenario is just, it looks really great. Everything is completely realized. And I know they put a lot of work into this movie. They lived in the wilderness to film it. I didn't really pay attention to that. So I'm just looking at this as a movie. And it's gorgeous, especially one of the final scenes, the showdown, if you will. It's in this valley where the light isn't hitting them, but the sunlight is coming through and glistening in the valley behind them. Is insanely memorable. It's so awesome. I love it. The story, though, is really great. Leonardo DiCaprio is really good. This is very much a survivor movie and a tale of a guy doing a thing. A little bit of a hero's journey, and I really liked it. Especially Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is despicable in this movie. He is so good. You love to hate him. I could not get enough of that. That was so cool. The bear attack was amazing, considering that was a completely CGI bear. They did a really good job making Leonardo DiCaprio look like he got mauled by a bear. It's just a really good movie escapism, though. It's believable. They're really there. Leonardo DiCaprio is really jumping into that cold-ass water. And it's just a good old-fashioned tale of badass revenge, and it kind of feels a little bit like a Western, and I really could have appreciated that. But it's just so good. It's so good. It's so much fun. It's very long, but it moves at a good pace. And I loved every second of it. I was pleasantly surprised. And at number 4 on my list, I have Ex Machina. You've probably seen this on a lot of lists because it's so damn good. The stuff it does here is really cool. The way it explores the artificial intelligence and humanity, all that shit, whatever. It's really cool. But ultimately, what I really enjoyed is just a couple things. Number 1, Donald Gleason. He's great. He was also in The Revenant, by the way. Also great. And Oscar Isaacs. I'm an Oscar Isaacs fanboy. He's great. He's so great. I love him so much. In this movie, he's a very interesting character because he's clearly very smart. He's got some dark elements to him, and he's an alcoholic, but he's also kind of likable. It's really interesting what they did with his character, and I liked it a lot. Donald Gleason's character too, as well. After I watched it a second and third time, there's layers to his character that you don't pick up on immediately. He seems kind of one note, but there's a lot going on with him, and in terms of him discovering his humanity and realizing, like, is he like gonna have sex with a robot? It was just good, and it had a lot of really good moments of real, like, unnerving tension, like almost like needles. Like, it was just it was good. Not to mention, I'm in love with wherever they shot this movie. This gorgeous mansion, house, facility, place, wherever the hell it was, is really, really cool. And the movie looks great. It feels great. It's very quiet. It's very weird, but really good. With number 3, I have Kingsman: Secret Service, because fuck you, this movie is great. I love so many things about this movie because it's a hybrid of so many things. It's like a send up and kind of a goof and a spoof on Bond films. It's also kind of like a hero's journey, coming of age story a little bit. It's also like a stupid, ridiculous action romp that is just overly violent and completely nonsensical. And I love it. And it is just, everything about this movie is so great. I love the action. I love the fact that they got Colin Firth to do this ridiculous shit. I love all the Britishness of it because I like England and I like all that culture and stuff. And it's just such a good time. It's such a fun time. It's the way they film everything, the way everything happens. It's so exciting. It's so energetic. It's like nonstop. And the use of music is so great. Okay, the church scene. If you haven't seen Kingsman, you've probably still heard about the church scene. The church scene is incredible. The church scene, for me, is one of those moments where I rewind or I look up on YouTube over and over and over again. Right up there with the lobby shootout scene in The Matrix. Right up there with Darth Vader versus Luke in Empire. Right up there with everything else, any scene that you would watch, a memorable scene that you would watch over and over and over again. A good action scene, just a good time. Kingsman has more than one of those moments. Pretty much any cool action or fight scene in this movie is one that I can watch over and over again. Not just because of how awesome and ridiculous and crazy it is, but also because of the use of music. One of the last bits in the movie, like, okay, the church scene I mentioned, it's great. Also because it uses Freebird. Like the not even just Freebird, but the guitar solo in Freebird, which is notoriously long. It fills out the whole scene. It's great. But the last good fight scene in the movie uses a Casey and the Sunshine Band song, which is like ridiculous and stupid, and you would never think of that, but it works more than anything ever in a movie that I've seen in a while, in this type of movie, and it's so good. I keep saying, like, it's great, it's fun, it's fantastic, I love it. But that's how I feel about these things, okay? Damn it. And at number 2, we have Mad Max Fury Road. Of course, surprise. Hello. I've been following this movie since since they started shooting it. And I was so excited. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be the best movie ever. And looks like I was right, fuckers. I can't say anything new and exciting about Mad Max that hasn't already been said. It's great. The action's amazing. All the practical stuff, all the car chases, the music, the lighting, the effects, everything is amazing. But I think for me, what was also really cool about it, what I can say is that this type of movie I would go into and walk out going, oh man, Mad Max was barely in it. It was all about that girl and it was boring. The fact that he didn't say that is awesome. The fact that it was a complete send up, yes, it's a Mad Max movie, but the focus isn't really on Max. It's so good. The War Boys, all that stuff. It establishes this world, this honestly very video gamey world that all just really works. And it's a great movie, and it's even greater for people who want to read into all the weird stuff, like the culture of this civilization, the half-life of the War Boys, and what all that stuff really means, and what Immortan Joe is doing. But you can push all that aside and just make it a simple, weird, crazy, post-apocalyptic future movie. And it is so great. I feel like George Miller really he almost took back what he influenced, because the Mad Max movies influenced so many things. Other movies, other video games, stuff like that. And then they just kept going, and they went past Mad Max, and they got more crazy and ridiculous, and that's fine. And then I almost feel like George Miller went and grabbed it. He took these elements that have now gotten so fantastical and so weird. Mad Max Fury Road especially has a lot of elements that fit into other more out there post-apocalyptic movies or video games, and he took it and he brought it back down and fucking made it even more awesome and just made a damn good movie out of all of it. And at number one on my list, I actually fought to not keep it at number one because I didn't want to be predictable to you guys. I didn't want to, like, you know, oh, Jake, of course he would put that. But you know what? Fucking whatever. Star Wars The Force Awakens. For me, I love it's the best. It's my favorite movie of the year. I understand that some people aren't going to like it as much as I do. I understand the movie does have some flaws, definitely, yeah. But for me, for my top 10 movies of the year, and for the emotion I got out of it, and for what I got out of going to the theaters and seeing this movie, what I felt, what I got from it, that's what makes it number one for me. I'm not going to tell you guys everything about The Force Awakens because I did also do a very long video on that. I really recommend you watch it because I put my fucking heart and soul into that video. But that's all I can say. It is my number one of the year. I love it so much. I've seen it many times in theaters now. I can't wait to buy it on Blu-ray. It's a great movie. It's going to be enshrined in my memory forever. So I think that's a good movie for 2015. I think it might deserve number one. Yeah, it does. So those are my top 10 movies of the year, guys. I have a pretty big runner-up list. I have Brooklyn, you know, for my artsy side. I have Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation because I thought it was a good way of harnessing Ghost Protocol, but then the original movie, kind of like all the elements of the series kind of coming together. I have Jupiter Ascending because fuck you guys, all right? They tried, okay? I have Ant-Man on my list. I talked about that before. I have The Danish Girl as well because I love Eddie Redmayne. He's a great actor. And where they took these characters in this semi-predictable movie, what the characters did and what they learned about love and stuff was really, really great. I also have Wild Tales. Wild Tales is a really cool indie movie. It's a collection of other short stories that you guys should definitely check out. But those are the movies that I really, really enjoyed this year. Like I said, I haven't seen every movie, but I've seen a lot. I'm very sorry Jurassic World didn't make it on the list because after another viewing, I didn't learn to appreciate it as much. It just kind of didn't do anything for me. And that happened to a lot of movies this year. It has been such a great year for movies. There have been a lot of really awesome stuff. But for me, the big guys really outshone everyone. Mad Max Fury Road and Star Wars are just so goddamn good. They're also the type of movie I like to watch first and foremost. But I do want to hear from you guys, of course, in the comments, what movies you're enjoying this year, because I'm sure you've seen a lot of different movies than I have, and I'm sure you've had some fun with some other movies that maybe I necessarily didn't. And that's the beauty of the internet, so I think we need to talk about that. Comment below, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want. Talk to me. If you guys did have a good time with this video, I've been saying this in my Game Ranks videos, I'm going to say it. If you guys did have a good time with this video, I've been saying it in my Game Ranks videos, but I'm going to say it here. Clicking the like button helps me out a lot. It really does. I appreciate it so much. As always, I'm Jake Baldino. You can like me on Facebook, you can yell at me on Twitter, and you can subscribe because video games.